Hey, what's going on, family? This mental stimulant, the Divine Empress, coming through. I wanted to talk to you guys for a moment about something. Talk to the parents. The parents that actually love, care, and want the best for their children. They want to see their children grow up and have happy lives, happy families, etc. And I want to put emphasis on that because I understand that a lot of parents didn't want their children. A lot of parents don't care if it go one way or the other with their children. So I'm going to be clear about that for the parents that are intentional and love their children. Think about the things that you see them, show them. Think about the lessons that you go through that your children watch secondhand. Because everything that these children see, experience, and feel matters. Even if it's from a secondhand position. A lot of times people get together. Sometimes it's just lust and having a good time or what have you. And you'll sometimes find yourself in these positions you don't want to be in. After a night of just having fun, now you bound to someone by a pregnancy that never was supposed to happen. Now, this child is caught in the middle for various reasons. Maybe the mom is looking at the guy as a meal ticket. Maybe the guy's looking at the woman as a trap and is bitter. But we all must look back at the fact that this child is in the middle, that don't have a choice either way. How you two deal with each other will either positively or negatively affect that child in the long run. A lot of times we say, oh, they don't know what's going on. They absolutely do know what's going on. They may not know how to articulate it, but these children are wiser than we give them credit for. And they're sponges. They absorb everything. They watch everything. They mimic everything. It is very important for both parents to play a role in this child's life, because if it wasn't important that both parents be present, it wouldn't have took both parents to make this child. Listen to what I'm saying and get a greater understanding of what's going on here. These little people grow up to be big people. And if you look at the state of our world, a lot of the adults walking around with these problems, addictions, broken homes, poverty, all of these things, it all boils down to the parents dropping the ball. Now, I understand a lot of people, when they have children, they don't know what they're doing. A lot of people are winging it when it comes to these children. And even that is okay. But you still should be intentional, at least even with the basics. Don't argue in front of these children and show such a disdain for each other that you make it dysfunctional. Because it gives the children the impression that this is what relationships and procreating is supposed to be like. No. Watch who you have around your children that can negatively affect them. You are the children's first line of defense. And I say this all the time because I'm a big advocate for children. Because I know what it's like for these children to grow up and their life be in the dumps. And a lot of people will disagree with me. I don't care. A lot of it boils down to the parents. The parents drop the ball or just don't care. A lot of these women get to be bitter and they don't want to allow the father to be a father, however that may look for that father, because they're bitter because the relationship didn't work out, the dude is a whore, what have you. None of that matters when it comes to that child, because that child needs that relationship with their father, the person that they are genetically linked to. Excuse me. Just as well as, I know it's rare that the moms run off and it's a father being a single parent, but it happens. That child also needs the nurturing of their mother. Fathers teach sons how to be men, how to be useful, how to use their hands, how to be builders, how to be protectors, how to be providers. Little boys can only get that from their father. Now, women do improvise, because I have seen many single mothers do it, but it is not the same as their father. That's kind of like a woman can teach her son how to potty train, but it's so much better when he has an example. And it also will teach him how to deal with a woman when he gets older. Put the seat down. Don't urinate on the commode. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, moms can nag about that. But unless he sees it visually, it's kind of hit or miss. That's just like with little girls. If their fathers are not present, excuse me, they don't have a guideline of what they deserve when they become of age to date. They have no reference point of how a man is supposed to treat them. So most times they settle for whatever. Most times it's the whore of the community. They migrate to the popular person that gets around the community because it looks like the thing to do. Not healthy, but the thing to do because he's popular. Most people go after the popular person because they don't know how to judge character. They don't have a basis, a guideline to properly choose their partners. I'm going to be very transparent here, I've been on my journey for quite a while. And when you go on your spiritual journey, you have to work on yourself. You have to dig into the good, bad, and the ugly of your childhood, of who you are, of your familial connections. All of this stuff has to be picked apart to truly heal, And none of us are perfect. All of us have flaws. That's the point for the healing, to pick out those things that we deem flaws. Certain characteristics that don't make us the best people sometimes. And most times it's because we're products of our environment, products of our family and generational curses. These things keep us bound on a spiritual and emotional level. And it goes back to family, the elders of the family, your parents. And I hate to sound like I'm so hard on parents, but I really feel, in my opinion, a lot of these children, a lot of us, be messed up because our parents was messed up and had no idea what they were doing. Not even the basics of, let me be better for my children. No one has taken accountability in a lot of these people's lives and have simply left the world to deal with these people when they could have had a completely different outcome or a better chance at life if somebody said, you know what, I'm going to be accountable. It's my responsibility to these children. None of us that have once been children asked to be here. Well, that's not 100% true, because some of us have lived many lives and have come back for specific reasons, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to stay at the surface. A lot of women be so mad with these men because some of them get pregnant on purpose, thinking it's going to make the man choose them. And I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but that does not work. If a man don't want to be with you, he's not going to be with you, even if he's there. He's still going to cheat on you. He's still going to ignore the children because he never intended to be there. You made the decision for him to be there. And your children suffer behind it. A lot of boys grow up and they're avoidant of relationships. They don't know how to emotionally express themselves. They don't know how to say, no, I don't want that. There's a lot of men in relationships they don't want to be in and refuse to speak up. Possibly because as children they were never heard. I don't know. It could be so many different things. But at the core of it, it definitely reverts back to the parents. You got men that grow up to abuse women because they hate their moms. Mom didn't give enough love, didn't pour into him as a child, ignored him because she was so caught up on her own mama need to have a life. Didn't pay him any attention. And what's common a lot with little boys is people always tell them they gotta be so tough. They can't have feelings. They gotta be void of emotion. You got men that will sit in their car and cry, then express themselves to the woman that they're with. This is crazy. All because they were taught, be a man. Boys don't cry. Why not? Crying is healthy. It's purifying the spirit. You keep all of that stuff knotted up in you, you're going to explode and do something stupid most time. You got men that weren't protected, that were molested, stripped of their manhood to where they're uncomfortable inside their own body. And then they're walking around with these facades of what the world tells them they're supposed to be. Do you know what it feels like to have to keep up a charade and you're completely the opposite of how you portray yourself? Which will cause you to lash out. Anyone that get remotely close to you emotionally, sometimes you'll punish them because you don't know how to express yourself. little girls get in these relationships as women where they're looking for a father's love, and a lot of men have been groomed to capitalize on it. And they'll take the attitude, well, if you allow me to mistreat you, then hey, why shouldn't I? You got these women out here, and I was once one of these women. This is why I know from experience. You'll be bending over backwards trying to love someone and prove yourself and show this person like, I'm not like everybody that disappointed you. Failing to realize it is not your problem to heal anybody. That was their parents' job. If their parents dropped the ball, who are you? We are not playing parental figures to grown people. At least we shouldn't. You know? Because they're going to take all of that trauma, all of that pain, all of whatever happened to them in their childhood out on you. You're never going to be heard. You're not going to be able to reach them until they figure out something is wrong with me. I'm incomplete. I need to sit down and work on myself. Which we all at some point or should do is take self-inventory. All of us know the difference between right and wrong, even though we ignore what's right. God has given us that. That's why they said after 7, the parents are no longer responsible for a child's sins. Because God naturally gave you to know the difference between right and wrong. But parents, if you love your children, if you have dealt with any emotional trauma in your childhood that you struggled with, why pass that on to a child? Especially a child that didn't ask to be here. You're simply dropping them into a life of suffering, which is so unfair if you ask me. I know a lot of people get pregnant and things of this nature and say, well, I don't believe in abortions for religious reasons and all of that. I agree with that. I do. But I also know that if you're going to spend your life mistreating the child, you got to make some hard choices. I wouldn't necessarily say abortion, but why not give that child to someone that will love them? There's so many people, so many couples out here that are well-to-do that can't have children. Which is unfortunate. I ask that with the Creator all the time. Why are you letting all these people that don't want these children, will abuse these children, have these children, and the people that want children can't have them? And I know there's a reason, because God's thoughts are not ours. We don't see things the same way God do. But I would like to have that understanding, because I see a lot of these women, a lot of these fathers, they don't deserve the privilege of being a parent. And just because you're capable of making a child don't mean you deserve to be a parent. Because there's a lot of women that are very loose, that couldn't even tell you who their child's father is. They didn't even care enough in the beginning to at least narrow it down to one person. These dudes are so loose. I'm speaking about specific types, so if you feel bothered by what I'm saying, then that's totally on you. But there's a lot of dudes that have been taught to be a player. It's such a rite of passage that they're dropping off children everywhere. Realizing that some of these girls, they don't even like to hear these women talk. So why is there a child there? How is that going to be healthy for the child? You didn't think along the lines like, okay, I'm about to bust shorty down. Let me put a rubber on, or let me protect myself because I don't want no STDs, no health problems. I don't want to have no children that I may not be there for, etc., etc. It takes a minute to think rationally. I'm not saying don't do the act. What you guys do is on y'all. But be accountable and responsible, because these children will suffer as the end result. You got children that grow up and they're angry because they're stuck in these families and feel out of place. Because a lot of these homes ain't no love. They're not being cared for. They're simply just there. A lot of these children can't even talk to their parents. That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, don't leave your children out here, man, holding the bag on your decisions in life. They don't deserve that, man. They don't deserve that. No woman needs to be figuring out over the age of 35 why she had all these failed relationships is simply because her father wasn't around. She didn't have a relationship with her father. Her father didn't set the tone on how a man is supposed to treat her. To where she just out here aimlessly wandering, dealing with all types of nonsense. All types of emotional, physical abuse, spiritual abuse. Simply from not knowing. Same thing for men. It happens to little boys as well. This is why the state of our world is so messed up. So messed up. It's not the world, it's the people in it that are messed up. They wasn't raised right. They wasn't raised right. Teach your children, please and thank you. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. What happened to these things? A respectable child can go anywhere. A child with manners, well behaved, can go anywhere. Endless possibilities. But when the children are hard to deal with, the world closes their doors on them, which cripples them. Like, man, we gotta tighten up. We gotta tighten up. I'm not telling y'all how to live y'all lives. I'm suggesting, for your children's sake, don't cripple your children, man. Send them out there with enough information, understanding as possible. Have real conversations with your children. Or the world is going to treat them however it wants to treat them. And it will be your fault. I love you guys so much. I'm out.